People of God, listen. This has been pressing on me for a few days now, and I believe somebody might need to hear this. I prayed about it yesterday when I was on my way back home. It was heavy on me, but I didn't want to speak on it. I did last night. It was heavy on me again, and I didn't want to speak on it. And then now it's this morning. It's heavy on me, so I'm gonna share this. Right. Um, this is a situation where it it's evident that discernment is very necessary, and having folk who are not discerning closely connected to you, people of God, can be a very dangerous thing, because people who are not discerning, their minds can easily be bewitched, right? And this story is it's a story about it's a testimony. I guess it's not really a testimony. It's a well, let me just tell you. A, a while back, I was working, right? And I met a young lady who arrived at the business that I was at the time. And, well, not a young lady, an older lady, but she's not, she's older than I am. And she was impressed with the business that I was, the work that I was doing basically with the company. And so she had some questions for me. She said that she was interested in doing the same type of business, starting the same business that I was doing. And she was, she seemed very sincere in her questioning. And then she mentioned, she told me she had a son. And she, she said that, it was their business, and she was trying to push him forward. And then she asked if she could have my number, because I had to I'd spend, I think we were talking for like 30 minutes, and I had to go. And so I gave her my card, and she later called, and she had more questions about the business, and so I would give her information. Long story short, she called for a few days, and I noticed her conversation. She would be very condescending, speaking on her son. I don't know the son. I don't know these people from Adam, right? It's just what I'm telling you. So she would talk about him and how he's lazy, and she's trying to get him motivated, and she started the business and it's really hers, and different little things like that. And then she would, listening to her sometime, my spirit just didn't started disconnecting when her conversations began to take that type of turn. Like there was, my spirit just rejected, was, beginning to just repel hers basically. Right. So I would, in the conversations, and slowly begin to pull away. But prior to just stop picking up her calls, because that's what I eventually did. I just stopped answering her calls when I was beginning to discern that negative, toxic spirit, and how she was so condescending to her son, right? Because my spirit just wasn't receiving, something just wasn't right. But prior to ignoring her calls, she mentioned in her last phone call that I had with her, she would just talk, and talk. And she talked about how, he's lazy and he doesn't do much. And, his wife, that B, she actually called his wife a B, the bitch. She said the word. And, so I'm like, and one thing I know is the enemy hates marriage. You understand? God is a covenant keeping God. And God, marriage is what God ordained between man and woman, right? And that is something that I've always been an advocate for. So when she's referred to her son's wife as like that, I'm thinking, does this woman really think that I'm in tune with her conversations? Clearly, with the previous two conversations, I started to, deteriorate. Like I didn't have anything to say, and I kind of got off the phone. So now this last conversation, she's going deeper in. And not only that, I am a stranger. I am a stranger. So in my mind, I'm thinking, how could she talk about her son like this? And I would ask her, well, do you guys can sit and talk. Have you ever sit and talk with your son? And then that's, like I said in the last conversation, that's when she was like, that wife is that B. So that's when I kind of was able to put two and two together, right? So I stopped picking up her calls. And she would call, I would let it go to voicemail. Like I said, my spirit was just repelled her spirit. So months, about a month, some time later, I was at another location. I had a contract with the company, this new company, and God had it so I ran into this lady's son. He was there, and the same business. He actually recognized me, because I think she must have told him about me, and I had on a shirt with my business name. So he was like, "You so and so," and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "My mom told me about you." I was like, "Oh, okay." I said, "Nice to meet you." I reached my hand out, and he shook my hand, and I could immediately, when I looked into his eyes, I saw such a gentle, humble, yet broken and painful soul. And he's a younger, a younger guy than me. And he was just, stressed out. He was stressed out. And there was something I saw that he was missing in whatever transaction he was doing. But I was like, "Hey, I got you." So I went and I got something that he needed and gave it to him, because he was asking me questions, and I could tell that he was new at, he was knowledgeable, but he was still needing to learn about certain things about the business he was trying to conduct. And he was like, "You mind if I get your number or whatever?" I left, so I gave him my card. And when I left there, a few hours after I left that location, he called me. And when he began to talk, he introduced himself, and he just started talking about, himself and the business he had started. So I didn't know the business wasn't him and his mom's. He started this. He did everything. But she was trying to dominate and rule over him. And this boy was so heavily oppressed and depressed, because, I just admire when I started listening to him and learning. He is a very anointed young man. He was very skilled. It's nothing that he could put his hands to that wouldn't prosper. And that's evident that the favor and the power of God is in his life. It's evident of the anointing. He talked about his children. He has children. He's married. I forgot how many years he was married. He has a wife. And I said, wow. So what I began to learn is that the mother that met me first wanted to paint a picture that was not necessarily true of this young man. And I understood now why she was jealous of him. And she was trying to compete with his wife rather than release and step back. Let this young man help him. If any help that he needed from you, help him in this business that he started. And, um, because clearly he's he's very respectful. But he started talking and talking, and he seemed like he was just needing somebody to talk to. And I told him, I said, "Well, I'm proud of you. I admire you. You have done such a great job in all that you're doing." And he said, "Oh, well, thank God. I never, thank you. I'm glad you seen that." And he started going on about, I'm trying to manage, my mom intersteps in sometimes in my marriage. He just started putting all the pieces together, filling in the gaps that I knew that I could pick up on previously wasn't right? But I never told him anything. I never said anything. I just thought, wow. And I said, "Well, I'm going to keep you in prayer." And I gave him all the advice that was in my spirit to give him. And then later, he called me that evening, and he said, "I was talking with my wife about you, and he says she wants to know if she can also call you sometimes or whatever." And he said, my wife said that you are our angel. And I was like, okay, and I've heard people have said that a lot. Like even the elder that I told you guys I visited, that I met, and I gave him the earplugs. He said the same thing. But throughout the course of my life, people have said that to me, right? Now, his wife called me, and this girl is so gifted spiritually. She is so gifted. They're a young married couple, and they are what they have accomplished as they are entrepreneurs. These young folk are millionaires, even though the manifestations of it, they may not, and they may have it now. I haven't spoken to them in so long, but the manifestation of it wasn't in their bank accounts during the time I spoke with them, but I saw it all over them. They had other business ideas. They already had their kids established business ideas. This young man had his hands in clothing line. And long story short, people of God, what I'm trying to say is that this man's own mother, the enemy was using her to try to pull her son back. It got to the point where the business that he started it, and because her name and maybe she gave him some money and stuff was tied up in it, she wanted to control it, and she wanted to put his wife in her place. That was out of order. Some of the things that she did, once I heard these people's side of the story, and I knew God orchestrated this whole thing, because these people would reach out to me and constantly reach out to me. They just wanted to communicate. So I knew it was something, the advice or whatever I was feeding in to what they were sharing with me and giving them back. I knew they needed it, because it was a very heavy spiritual warfare. It's like this young man's family was trying to tear this whole marriage down and make his wife beat her down so much. And me being an outsider, some of the things that God had me speak to this young man about without even communicating with his wife, it helped him understand. I believe his wife was saying some of those things, but sometimes when you're in the middle like that and you have a very manipulative parent who knows their seed and they know how to get to you, they know how to tug at your heart or whatever, he was in a place of depression, confusion, and he broke free. He was able to break free and restart everything. He let his mama have that business that he started. He just walked away. It was hard for him. He went through a lot of pain, and it couldn't, I said, when you walk away from that, the favor, it's going to fall, because it was his, and when he walked away, he had more peace. He had more businesses that arose. This man has his own clothing line. Like I said, this young couple, they're millionaires. And so, people of God, I want to tell you something. When you have folk who are not discerning, and they're not able to, they don't have wisdom, they're not spiritually disciplined, it's not good to keep folk like that around you, right? Because the adversary will jump into anybody he can in order to rob, steal, or even kill the true children of God. He will jump into anybody he can to rob, steal from, or kill the true children of God. So, anybody who is not spiritually, your spirit does not confirm, you do not need to keep them around you. I don't care who they are. I don't care what type of relationship you have with them. Life is spiritual, and we must walk in the spirit. Every day we must walk in the spirit, and we must trust our spirit over our own minds and our own hearts. We must trust our spirit over our own minds and our own hearts, right? They know who you are. So walk in the spirit, and don't keep anyone around you that is not highly discerning, that your spirit does not confirm. If there is any type of uneasiness, unsureness, don't keep folk around you. Don't give folk your ear. Don't listen to folk. You know, folk can use their words to cast spells on you, right? And it's all about bewitchment, manipulation of the mind. Don't let folk plant seeds in your mind. How do you stop folk from planting seeds in your mind? You stop giving them your ear. You stop giving them your ear. You stop giving them your attention. You stop giving them your energy. It's folk who thought that they were going to kill you or pull you down or crush you or embarrass you by not giving you their energy. But what they didn't realize, they blessed you, because when you're a child of God, you don't need toxic energy. Toxic energy don't agree with your spirit. So some folk who thought that they were not going to give you the love and support that you needed, they thought that was going to break you or make you fall. But really all it did was bless you, because it helped you keep your energy space. It helped you keep your space, your energy feel clear. You could think better. You could focus better. There's power in focus, right? So anyway, somebody needed to hear that story. I hope it bless you or gives you clarity or confirmation or whatever. But no, follow your spirit. Follow your spirit. The spirit will never lie. Our minds and our hearts sometimes could confuse us, cause us to make decisions out of just naiveness or ignorance. But follow your spirit. If it don't align with your spirit, if your spirit repels anything, fall back. Be patient. Give it time. Like I always say, time reveals everything. Time proves people, y'all. Folk can start out strong and praising you and seeming like they love you, telling you all kind of nice things. Give it some time. Give it some time, right? So anyway, that's what I needed to share. Have a blessed day and know that your sister loves you. Stay up on this battlefield, people of God. Keep letting that light shine. God is on your side. If God be for you, who can be against you? No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Look at all them weapons done formed. Anybody ever had knives thrown in their back, all across your back, filled up your back? If you still living, I'm telling you, they scared of you. They scared of it now. They know that God is with you. So now, just walk in the power of God. Don't even give your energy to any negativity. Stay positive. And if they come at you, anybody come at you with any negativity, it going to go back to them like a boomerang. You understand what I'm telling you? Because you ain't focusing on it. God done put these people on notice. Keep walking. Keep your head held high. Stay up. Stay true to who you are. But most importantly, stay true and stay loyal to God. All right, people of God.